So now it's time to have a look at class procedures. Every form that exists in an Access database has attached to it in the VBA editor a class module. And it's in that class module that you would hold any code that is specific to that form. So if we want to see a form's class module, we can either open an existing form. So for example, the FRM new items here in our Sales Incorporated. If we open in Design, and then ensure we are on the Design tab of the Form Design Tools, we have our little option here, View Code. Clicking View Code here will take us directly into the correct class module, which is for our form FRM new items. So we can see here in the navigator it's selected, and up here in the title bar it says that's what we're looking at. So you know you're looking at the correct class module. Now if you have a form open in design mode and use the keyboard shortcut, the Alt F11, it will take you into exactly the same place. So it doesn't matter whether you use keyboard shortcut or the icon on the ribbon. Every time you create a new form, it gets a corresponding class module. So if we were to create a brand new form in design, let's save our form as FRM VBA test. Okay, then click View Code, and we're now looking at the class module for FRM VBA test. A blank sheet ready to receive our instructions. Now typically those instructions belong to an object. So if we go back to our form, we have a blank form. Let's add to the form a command button and ensure our wizard is off. It is. So it's simply adding a command button. We then name this object, otherwise we'll have the name command 0. So on the other tab, instead of command 0, I'm going to call my button CMD so that I know it's a command button, test. Now by triggering, we mean to do something to this button that will run our code. For every object on your form, you'll find with it selected, if you go to the property sheet and choose event, these are all the possible events that can trigger a piece of VBA, a procedure from executing, a subroutine. Ordinarily for a button, you would expect on click. So if we choose on click, click the little drop down, choose event procedure, click the 3 dots, guess where we end up? We end up back in the same class module, which is the sheet for form FRM VBA test, but the editor has started as a subroutine. So it's a private sub, so it's a subroutine that is just for this class module, so effectively for just this form. It takes the name of the object and adds on this reserved keyword of _click, which means when you click the command test, everything you now place between the opening sub and end sub will be carried out. And we can carry out anything we would like, anything we're capable of writing in VBA. So you can recognize the syntax here for a subroutine. No values are actually passed into this subroutine, but it has this reserved method here, effectively of _click. If we go back and we were actually to choose double click, event procedure, 3 dots, we then create a new subroutine called CMD test and then double click. So you have a trigger there of double click. If we were to add data field, you'll find we have a series of events on click, before update, after update, on dirty, on change, on got focus, on lost focus, etc., etc. So there are many triggers that can run a subroutine. It's just a matter of choosing the correct event that will trigger your subroutine that will then run the correct code. So this is per form. Each form has its own class module. That class module exists the minute you create the form. We can visit the class module by choosing View Code from within the form, or we can go directly to the VBA editor from anywhere in the database and double click the form here to visit that class module, because it just brings that particular class module to the front. And then we create our subroutines by attaching them to events on objects. Now some objects have different events to others, but you'll soon find which ones have which, because as soon as you create an object and select it, you'll see the list of possible events that can be used to trigger a routine.